All right. Hello, everybody. It is Ben speaking. Once again, coming to you with yet another Fusebox Engaged. And as you can see, I am finally doing this from my computer, my desktop. And I'm doing it with my buddy was kind enough to give me a cam. I know it's kind of looking slow and stroby, but I kind of like it. I think it's kind of cool looking. But anyway, so for this Fusebox Engaged, I actually started watching Game of Thrones. Yes, yes, indeed, wise guys. Welcome, welcome. You are always a wonderful sight for these sore eyes. So pretty much, I've been watching Game of Thrones for the first time ever. That's right. Oh well, then I guess it's just me. It must just be me. But yeah, I watched Game of Thrones for the first time ever, and I was one of the holdouts. I didn't want to watch it for the longest time. I thought, like whenever something gets super popular and trendy, I tend to avoid it. I don't really like the trendy shit. But in this case, like enough time had gone by, and I've been talking about this mythology that I've been creating with a buddy of mine. Yeah, that's pretty much what I figured it was. Yeah, but I kind of like it. I think it looks kind of cool. But yeah, I've been talking about this mythology that I've been building with a buddy of mine. And so I wanted to kind of get, a little bit of inspiration here and there. And I was bored one night and I had my HBO Max on and I was just like, you know what the hell? I'll check out Game of Thrones. I'll see what all the hullabaloo is about. And so I did, and I liked it. I didn't I didn't love it. There were parts of it that kind of like there were parts of it that I got into, and there were parts of it that I was just kind of meh about. But I enjoyed it for the most part. I was hoping that some folks were going to join me who had seen the show, but of course, like it's always a roll of the dice with that. But I just had some questions for a lot of folks, and maybe y'all can post them in the comments, or Wise, if you want to ask something, or if you want to answer something for me or whatever. Um, but like, I number one, I don't understand why everybody really hated the ending of the show, because I didn't hate it. I oh well, I mean, at least I can respect that because I too had never seen it, and I was just kind of like I watched it begrudgingly out of boredom, and I don't get why everybody hated the ending. I don't get it. Like, it'd be one thing if they were saying like, oh, you totally deviated from the books or something, but like from what I understand, George R. R. Martin hadn't even written that far into the story, so the showrunners pretty much had to make something up on the spot. Yes, I did. Now, granted, I wasn't religiously glued to it. There were a lot of points where I was playing Total War: The Three Kingdoms because I thought that was kind of appropriate. And I was playing Total War a lot while kind of listening to it in the background. But I did like watch a lot of the pivotal moments. I actually think I slept through the Red Wedding, which is funny. I fell asleep there at one point. I think I fell asleep right as the Red Wedding was going on. So I'm probably going to rewatch parts of it. But yeah, I don't understand why everybody hates the last season so vehemently. Um, I see where it departed from the source material. Like you can tell there's a big tone shift, I think. But I to me the tone shift wasn't unwelcome because the show was so damn bleak. Like with most fantasies, you sort of put yourself in this state of mind. Like when you really like a fantasy, you imagine yourself being in that world. And that's kind of what, draws people to games like Skyrim and stuff. It's like, oh, you get to create your own character and you're in that world. That's we get to feel like we're immersed in the mythology and the lore, and also just the scenery. And what's great about Skyrim is just that epic music that they always play for you. Like it really captures that epic feeling. And with like most fantasies it's like, yeah, I've always pictured having like a character or an avatar in that world. I don't picture that with Game of Thrones, because Westeros is a very depressing ass place to be, in my opinion. The realism in it is a little too real at times, because it's like, number one, the perspective from where the story's coming from. And I don't know how different it is from the books because I've never read the books. I've heard that like the first few seasons followed the books pretty well, like pretty religiously, which is kind of rare. But again, like the mythology, it's like there's mythological elements in it that are kind of fun, but they're not really played up in the way to where it's really like immersive. And the story it's like they're writing the story in a similar way to like the way The Witcher is told, where it's like it's like a very, very evangelical atheist's point of view on a fantasy story, which to me it's like that kind of like, it might just be my own Christian bias, but it feels like those two things don't really go together well. Okay. Well, kind of. I mean, everybody. Yeah, I can see that, but they don't really end up quite in the same place. Like Sansa Stark becomes the queen of the Northern Kingdom, and Arya basically becomes like the first explorer of the West. So now, yeah, Jon Snow pretty much ends up where he was in the beginning, but to be perfectly honest, he was like one of the weaker elements of the show, in my opinion. He's supposed to be integral, very integral to the plot. And it seems like, the actor they had there, he just wasn't really dynamic. He was very wooden as a character, in my opinion. There wasn't really a lot of personality going there, so it wasn't really believable how all these people rallied behind him when he's just like this nothing kind of character. But but yeah, like when it comes to like the like mythological realms, like stories of fantasy that people love, it's like you can usually picture yourself or like picture having a character living in this world. I would never do that for this show or for this book. Um, it's very bleak. I would say it's equally, maybe a little bit more bleak than The Witcher, but at least with The Witcher, there were like some elements to it and some characters that were like really fun that might make you want to be in that world. But I mean, again, like yeah, like most of the people behave just horribly, like just nothing but assholes. Assholes make up the vast majority of the characters in these stories, and it's like, well, that seems very true to life, in my opinion. And again, like, why would you play fantasy to be completely true to life? Like, I get wanting a little bit of realism or like some realism. Like, I don't like things that go too fantastical to where they're kind of cheap. But again, Westeros, it's like there's basically like two characters that are honorable, and no, there's like three characters that are honorable, and two of them are boring as fuck, and the third one died pretty much in season one. So like there wasn't too much for me to cling to. I just kind of I got into some of the drama because there's that part of me that really loves like soap opera type drama, and that's pretty much what Game of Thrones was. It was a fantasy soap opera that took things to the extreme that most soap operas dare not go to. But yeah, like the tone shift from where the books were to where the show was picking up after the books, I kind of agreed with it in that it seemed like they were trying to do more of a thing of like they're acknowledging how fucked up this world is, and the characters are trying to make efforts to change things for the better. And it seems like there was a little bit more of a sense of hope. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I don't like boring escapism. Like I don't like just like, oh, everything's happy and everything does well. But it's like you want there to be some kind of something really good and pure inside of it. Like you can have your characters surrounded by complete assholes, but you want there to be a glimmer of hope for the future. And I feel like that's kind of what the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones were doing, was they were trying to add that. It was like, okay, you've seen the worst of humanity throughout the first 6 seasons. Now we're gonna try to change things up. We're gonna try to make this world a better place. That's something I can get on board with. Apparently, not a lot of people agree with me on that. I mean, I guess they wanted more grimness and death and horribleness. And I mean, there was still enough. There was a good bit of that in the last couple seasons. Like, I have to say, I actually liked how Daenerys Targaryen became a complete asshole toward the end. Number one, because I just didn't like that character from the get go. Even when she was good, I guess she was sort of just kind of a victim of circumstance. There was something about, I guess it was the way the actress was portraying her and the way the script was beefing her up. It just got on my nerves after a while. Yeah, yeah, I get on board with that. Yeah, I can totally see that. What's up, Fade?
Hey Ben, how's it going?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's good. I was just lecturing about how I just finished watching Game of Thrones for the first time.
How how is it?
Um, like I think it's a very bleak story,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like the last couple seasons were trying to kind of give you this sense of like, they're building towards a hopeful new future.
Mm.
And it's funny because like I've seen a lot of people talking about how they just really don't like the last season of Game of Thrones, and I didn't quite get that because I was like, I kind of liked it just because so many
Well,
of the characters were just such complete assholes. It's like it's nice to see the show trying to create some kind of hope.
mm. See, what I heard on the grapevine on that is from at least from a few videos that I've watched, is that they should have ended it on the last season instead of extending it for one more season. Apparently.
Okay.
At least that's what I heard on the grapevine. I haven't seen it yet, but I might have to check it out sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it. I watched it reluctantly out of boredom
Mm-hmm. Hey,
because
Wise.
because I just kind of I was always like really against it just because like I had always from everything I had heard it was just like lots of bloody deaths and gore and betrayal
Mm-hmm.
and I just was like what the hell I'll check it out and it was a lot of bloody deaths and gore and betrayal but
So,
like they
almost
the,
exactly what you thought it was.
yeah but I'll say like the writing was way more engrossing than I was expecting.
Mm.
Like there were things that got you attached to certain characters. Um, Particularly like Tyrion was a character that I really got attached to, and
Mm.
I kind of liked Bran's story, but I mean, the character himself was a block of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Jon Snow. Like Jon Snow is supposed to be like kind of the heart and soul of a lot of the show, and the actor and the writing for him, he was just very wooden. Like,
Mm.
and there's a point later on in the story when like a bunch of people rally to him, like they want him to be the king in the North and all this shit. And I'm like, why do you like this guy so much? He's not interesting. Like,
I mean, there are unfortunately characters like that. I mean, well, yeah, there are characters like that in almost every story. But,
yeah,
I mean, good writing, at least to me, is like how you can portray the character, how it makes the character either likable or hateable,
yeah,
depending on how you write it.
exactly. Like, I think, yeah, with him, I didn't hate him, but I didn't particularly care for him. He was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't like Daenerys Targaryen. Um, and I know that she's like apparently like a bunch of people just are in love with her,
Mm-hmm.
but she just bugged me on like I guess it was the way the actress was portraying her, and they were doing that thing that I see a lot of modern stories do with female characters, where like the characters around them kind of talk them up
Mm-hmm.
bigger than they actually are. It's like, I mean, to use the same old example that's been beaten to death, Star Wars. Rey is made out to be just this goddess among men, and she really wasn't that interesting of a character. And then who else was it? There was a like pretty much just anytime you see those stories where it's like the characters all around the female character are just constantly talking about how great the female character is.
Oh, I hate that.
That's what I mean. Like, and it's like, and you don't really see much evidence of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I felt about Daenerys. Like, she did some cool things here and there, but it wasn't like, it didn't blow me away. And it seemed like the people around her were doing more than she was. And I don't know. I liked her in the last couple seasons just because she ended up becoming a psycho murderer. And I thought, like, okay, that's cool. Like, the character that everybody was looking at as like female Jesus becomes the exact opposite. Like, that's interesting to me.
Basically, is she basically almost a female Hitler, basically? Towards...
Somewhat. Like, she didn't kill quite as many people, but like, she's like getting ready to invade the city of King's Landing. And like, they had this whole thing where her advisor Tyrion is telling her, like, okay, if they ring the bells, the soldiers will open the gates. That means they've surrendered. So if that happens, we don't have to kill a bunch of people. Like, we don't want to do that. And they did surrender. And after they surrendered, she just, like, something came over her, and she just had her dragon just go to town and start attacking the soldiers that dropped their weapons and, like, the townspeople and shit. It was really fucked up. And, like, and in the end, she ends up getting killed. And I thought, like, that was pretty good, in my opinion.
That is interesting.
I enjoyed that.
I might have to give it a shot just from the way you're talking about it. It seems like a pretty good show.
Well, I mean, like, I think the best parts of the show are just like the crazy fucked up betrayals, like that happen so much, but it's like they always kind of happen. You're not always really expecting it to happen, even though it happens over and over.
Oh, that's pretty good then. 'Cause usually those are the best kind of betrayals.
Oh, exactly. It's a medieval soap opera with a really high budget. But I was explaining before you came on, like, with most fantasies, it's like I like to imagine having like a character in that world or being in that world myself, like, because there's usually something that attracts you to that fantasy world. With this fantasy world of Westeros, I don't want to be anywhere near it. Like, it's extremely bleak. It's like, you know, even the mythological elements that are kind of cool in it, they're really small and out of the way. And it's like it was written by an evangelical atheist. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's some magical things, but they're not really magical and they're not really fun.
You're not either, sweetie.
Yes, I am.
There you go, Ryder.
How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm good. I take it you're angry about my insult of the Mother of Dragons.
I didn't actually even hear most of it. I literally have been running very late and signed in as I said that because I heard you say not magical, not special.
So you're just looking for something negative to say about me.
Yeah,
Just for shits and grins, yes.
I'll do a clip or something. I'll rewind to Ben's highlights of Mother Dragon just for Eagle and just clip him and put him
Define Mother Dragon here.
Oh, Daenerys Targaryen on Game of Thrones.
Oh, I don't care. I hate Game of Thrones. It's too modernized soap opera.
See, I was talking about just that.
Yeah.
Very soap opera.
That was...
Yeah.
I'm very, how shall I say, obsessive with things that have to do with my fantasy and my dragons, and I don't want them to sound like some modern day bullshit in politics. I want them to actually be mythical.
No, like I get that. Like that was what annoyed me in the show was how there were mythological elements, but they were downplayed, and and again, it was like it was written by an evangelical atheist, where it's like, oh, there's some magical things here, but they're not that magical, and all the characters are complete assholes except for like 3 people.
See, and yeah, people have their downsides and their flaws and stuff, but historically and through time, there have always been good and bad people overall. And a lot of people, while they did asshole things, were overall decent people. This nihilist viewpoint of everyone in humanity is an evil, psychopathic, rapist, killer kind of thing. It doesn't work to me. I'm sorry. I don't. As jaded as fuck as I am and as cynical as I am, what's the point of watching something like that? If I wanted to feel that cynical, I'd just watch the news. I mean...
No, I agree with that. I just, like, Game of Thrones was better than I was expecting, because I came into it with pretty much your attitude. Like, I was like, I'm just watching this out of boredom. Like, I'm expecting to hate this. And I didn't hate it because it wasn't, like, a lot of the characters were more three-dimensional than I was anticipating.
I would say if you want really good three-dimensional fantasy characters with bits of the human social situations still there without overbearing, read David Eddings.
Okay.
He has a lot of fantasy trilogies and novel series that he wrote, and his stuff is intense.
Fuck. Lordy.
I told you I'm a mythology and history nerd.
Well, I know I sent you my mythology to read, and you haven't read it yet.
I know. Life has been kicking me in the teeth and ass. Sorry. Can I give you hugs and make you feel better?
I just want people to read my damn mythology, because I gave it to my buddy Mike to read, and he's putting it off. And I gave it to my ex-girlfriend to read, and she's putting it off.
Keeps losing all the links for me, so you might want to resend it just to make sure, because I'm like half of my DMs keep disappearing and showing empty.
Okay. Yeah, that
so
was
I might want to just
like,
resend it so I can make sure I have the link where I can find it.
Like, I think the cool aspect in Game of Thrones with mythology stuff was how there were actually a bunch of like gods and stuff, but I'm pretty sure from the way the characters talk and everything, like, I'm pretty sure those gods are all fake in the story.
Do you know what's sad? You talk about this, and do you know what show I would rather watch over Game of Thrones that should have had more episodes than it did? Gallivant.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're talking about. That comedy medieval
that twisted
one.
as fuck spoof one that had the guy from Psych and stuff in it. Yeah. It had a whole huge script planned for it, and then it got panned last minute because the network basically didn't like something that lighthearted with that kind of dark storylines. And so they canceled it like 2 days before they were supposed to try to air the next season. So the last thing we got was Timothy's character, Timothy, Lassie from Psych, as one of the kings in it. And the last scene you have in the show is him going, "I have a dragon," and showing off this massive dragon he just got as a pet.
Sounds like they were making fun of Game of Thrones.
They were making fun of all kinds of things in fantasy. They even had an episode with a singing monk that was played by Weird Al.
Oh, God. Oh, Lordy. Oh, Weird Al.
It was fucking hilarious. It was awesome. See, again, I'm a mythology nerd, and I'm a Mel Brooks and spoof nerd. Does this not sound like a show that was right up my alley?
Well,
No lie?
I love the mythology from Elder Scrolls. Like, that's some crazy good shit.
I will be honest, when it comes to mythology, some of my favorites, we all know Tolkien and Lewis are my favorites. Everybody knows that. Madeline L'Engle, I was actually more into as a kid than any other writer because I felt the spirit of her writing so much. Not the fuck show they turned A Wrinkle in Time into, but the actual Time Quintette series.
I gotta say, on The Wrinkle of Time, I prefer the book over the freaking movies. Although
no, the movie was a fucking abomination, and the book was good, but the other books in the series were better.
Oh.
My favorite book as a little kid was A Swiftly Tilting Planet, which is the third book in the series, which is when the little boy in A Wrinkle in Time is teenage.
Oh.
And basically, to stop a mad dictator who's trying to nuke the world, he's going through time and space with a Pegasus into other people's spirits to try to alter history to prevent the guy from being born.
Damn.
And it's actually one of the darkest moments where you realize that the whole, white, pale people thing in Wrinkle in Time was kind of important, because Calvin, they talk about him being the little redhead boy and stuff that Meg fell in love with. You actually deal with in that book, one of the people has to go back in time and go into to help affect all these different events is his uncle. And you get to find out that part of why Calvin's mother was as screwed up as she was is because as the redheaded stepchild, her brother was beaten to death in front of her.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of important to have the anti-Celtic shit in the books, because that was actually part of the story, was calling out that shit that had happened historically.
So Elder Scrolls was great.
Ben does not know what to say about the part I just revealed, does he?
No, do you know about the Elder Scrolls mythology?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
The Elder Scrolls mythology is awesome because they deal with the multicultural aspect where everybody's got their own take on the gods. And the way the story is structured is that it's like it approaches everything from a totally omniscient point of view, where it's like literally every story, even the shit that contradicts each other, is simultaneously true. Somehow. I don't know why, but that just rocks my world.
Partly because all people have a different perspective on how they view events that happen around them, and two people can watch the same event, be completely truthful, and both be remembering things that actually happened in the event and remember contradictory parts of it.
Yeah.
That's human condition. That's been proven over time. And again, it doesn't mean that either person's memory is false. Both can be accurate, and they're just remembering parts with missing other parts. That makes it sound like it contradicts itself.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's part of psychology. I mean,
that's why you all should play Elder Scrolls. I recommend it.
But I'm not a gamer. Well, the exception is I like single player turn-based RPGs because I like the strategy and all that. I'm not. I tried MMOs and I was good at them. I mean, when I gave up the characters I had, I basically sold them off to people because at that point I was killing everybody in the maps. But I didn't enjoy them much. And by the time I got really powerful in them, I got bored,
I get that because like MMOs feel very robotic to me. It's like the story is very loose, and
I went so mercenary, honestly. I actually had this character back when they had the old it's like an MMO Risk game, the original Ebony.
I think I've heard of that.
And it was multiplayers, hundreds of players on a server, and you were playing like Risk and War, playing and attacking each other's bases and all shit like this. And I got to the point where I was the strongest character on the server, handedly. And then I went mercenary and auctioned my character off to the other players so I could pay off some bills for my family.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I got almost $1,000 for that character.
Oh, damn.
Jesus Christ.
People wanted it because we're really competitive at that point in it. And yeah, I mean, real, no shit. I mean, I like strategy. I'm not into the hack and slash. I'm not into the action and stuff. And that's partly my nerve issues. It's harder for me to play that stuff. Most of the ones that have that stuff have a lot of flashing and stuff in them. So it just doesn't work for me. But I love strategy. And I'm brutal in it.
I like it when games combine the two.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what they did with the third Dragon Age game, and then they also did that with Final Fantasy, particularly Final Fantasy VII Remake. They combined like the action genre with the strategy genre.
Well, Zelda always did to a bit because it was less strategy each fight and more you walk up to them and fight them, but there was a lot of strategy in between all of that. So the Zelda games always had a bit of that too.
Yeah.
But I was always into the ones where you're in the action. I mean, if you look at like Shining Force for the old Sega, actually had full on like Stratego like wars every time you went into the freaking battles. It wasn't just a little war like you have in a lot of them. It was full on board game war every time you ended up in a battle.
You need to play Total War. Total War by Sega on the PC. That is all strategy, and it's all huge epic war scenes.
So I mean, over my birthday this year, while I was sitting kind of dealing with all the crap when my uncle passed away and stuff, I had a friend who decided he was going to surprise me for my birthday by sending me this gift card for Google Play Store. So I went in there to see what was going on over there because I don't usually pay for games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys know who Chemco is as a company?
No.
It was one of the games that made a lot of the old style RPG games for Sega and Nintendo in the old days. Now they make app-based old-fashioned RPGs. And they had a whole bunch of their games that are usually between like $6 to $20 on this like after Christmas sale for like $1 to $2 each. Right when I got the gift card. So I have this freaking fuck ton of all these games on my phone that I have to play through the story in right now, and I finished 10 of them so far.
Oh dang!
But yeah, I mean that was the gift. Is it like, and I know he sent me this card going, well, a lot of the good apps that are considered high-rated games and stuff, the really good, RPGs and stuff like that are like $20-$30, So he sent me this decent-sized gift card going, oh, she'll get a couple games or something. And I'm showing him, I've got like 30 games from you and then a few others from some other people and stuff. It's fun, though. When I get really, really stressed, I just pull out the phone, I open one up, and I kill everything that fucking pisses me off. It's cathartic. No, there is a business in town here that opened recently that is a vent room. An anger room, as they call it, where it's literally the whole point of this business is you pay a fee, you come into their property, you can bring something that's pissing you off that you want to break, or you can come in there and just pay a fee, and they will supply you stuff and weapons and let you smash the shit out of it in safe rooms.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those look kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, they have a date night package. It's like, for the rage in your life, date night.
There you go.
And Ben's like, this is actually tempting.
No, I'm.
He's like, wait, what's going on?
I'm flabbergasted.
I love the concept. People have a natural rage in them. We always have, and we become more pacifistic, more whiny, more culturally oversensitive. PC culture. That anger that builds up in people at the crap that happens to us in everyday life isn't venting, and that's where people snap. That's where people go over the edge because they can't express their anger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually healthy, just like going to the range and hunting and stuff has always been a good outlet for people to not be as crazy around people. Just like violent video games, every study that's been done has actually shown they decrease violent behavior in the people who play them.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense because I play a lot of violent video games.
Yeah. But the problem is, at least with that, me is just trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, saying, "Oh, violent video games are bad."
Oh, violent video games are horrible. Guns are horrible. Mental illness is horrible. Never mind the fact that those of us who have mental illness, it's actually about 98% of them do not make you violent, and those that do, it's usually enhancing what's already in you. And that's their scapegoat. And they always say, all these attacks, all these events always happen because of mental illness, and most of the time, look back at the case a few weeks after when everyone stopped talking about it, and it comes out that no, they didn't actually have mental illness. We just blamed it in the media right away. Yep. And there's some that do, obviously, because there's always going to be some who do because statistics people. But it's so much less than they actually portray it as. It's not even funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like, if they wanted to be honest, A, rifles are one of the least commonly used weapons in attacks.
Yep.
B, over 90 to 95%, depending on where you are, of gun crimes are committed with illegal guns.
Yep.
Yeah.
And over 99% of them are committed in gun-free zones.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, us legal gun owners are the problem. And these people on the shooting that happened recently are literally harassing one of the fathers who lost his child because there's a picture of him in a fuck gun-free zone shirt.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's wearing that shirt in a picture, and now he lost his child in a gun-free zone. I think he just proved his own point, sadly. That's nothing to harass him over, though. Even if you disagree with him. He just lost his child,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this is what happens when tragedies get politicized.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And yet they get pissed when I point out the Wounded Knee stuff. And it's like, you do realize the history of gun control in this country has always been racism.
I can see that.
Yeah. It started with trying to disarm freed slaves, and it went into trying to disarm the natives. And then they started using it to try to disarm minorities and the poor in inner cities and the hills. And you could track it through the history of this country. It's always been racist. Always.
So the Kingdom of Westeros.
And just say that I'm too mouthy and political.
So about that Westworld.
About those bitches. I mean...
It's funny how I watched all of Game of Thrones, but I think I fell asleep during the part where the Red Wedding came up, and that's like the big major bloody event of the whole show. And I slept through it. So.
Well, you're just that tired.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it. Apparently the guy who did it, I didn't know, it was the guy who played the caretaker in the Harry Potter movies, whose name I'm forgetting. The squib guy.
Squid guy.
Squib. You know, he was
Hagrid? No,
he was Muggle born to magic parents. And I'm blanking on his name. He's the caretaker of the grounds. He's kind of creepy.
Does he have like that weird eye?
I think so. No. He was more prominent in like the first two movies, and he kind of took a back seat in the future movies. He was the old curmudgeon-y guy.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a Potter fan.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Rosetta.
It's too simplistic.
Everybody saw Harry Potter.
No.
Everybody.
My husband has them. I never watched them.
I read the books.
I tried to read the first book. I tried to sit through a couple of them for my husband. I could never watch it. I always fell asleep. It bored the shit out of me. It was too simplistic.
I just prefer, between the movies and the books, I prefer the books.
I think.
Ben, I'm hardcore. I'm hardcore. What do you want?
I want you to know the name of this caretaker.
No,
I can't remember his name.
I don't. Even if I was a fan, I don't remember names for shit. So you're screwed on that. But what I was telling you earlier, I mentioned let your mind think about while we have another conversation. Trust me, that's the best way to go with it. What I mentioned, David Eddings, to describe his writing would basically be the literature level and length of like Dune books with Tolkienian like fantasy.
Makes sense.
He's intense. And it's stuff that even takes me a few days to get through. And I'm the girl who read, my mom would give me a book Christmas Eve because she wanted me to, be quiet and not sneak out to the living room. And one year, what the book she gave me was, all 7 of the Chronicles of Narnia in one book, which I had finished by Christmas morning,
Jesus.
And some of Edding's books will actually take me a couple days to get through. So that should tell you something. By the way, you do not want to know the amount of sci-fi and sci-fantasy books I have in my basement here.
By the way, Ben, it was Argus Flinch, I believe the caretaker was called.
Argus
Flinch.
Hang on, I'm looking on the website.
Okay.
You dirty, filthy, rotten cheater.
Jesus, there's a lot of characters in this.
And yet they all bore me. I mean...
Well, no, it's like, I think these are from most of these are in the books. Like
I said, I tried to read the book because I try to give things a fair chance. I do. Even if I think it looks like it's going to be dumb, I try to read a little, watch a little, see how it's going to be usually.
Let me see. I know his first name was Argus.
If I really look at something and go, I don't fucking care, I also don't talk about it, You
were right. It's Argus Filch.
Yeah.
I think they call him Mr. Filch or something. But the actor who played that guy in the movies played the dude who orchestrated the Red Wedding, which was where a bunch of soldiers literally stabbed a pregnant woman to death multiple times.
Damn.
And I was like, holy shit. To think, I thought he was shady in the Harry Potter movies, but... Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying earlier, like most fantasy worlds make me want to visit those worlds. Not the one in Game of Thrones. I don't want to be anywhere near Westeros. Fuck that place.
I am going to hop over and see what's going on with Anthony because he's got a stream posted saying somebody has been actually sent a threat to his house.
Oh, fuck.
So I'm going to hop over and see what's going on with him.
Okay.
All right, take care.
You guys take care.
See ya. Lordy.
No kidding. Damn.
Who would threaten Anthony of all people? Like, there's so many other people in CG that you could threaten.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd threaten Dark Gift Comics. Like, he's just a chill guy.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is maybe, a certain Poulter, I guess.
I mean, I just always, every time I've seen him, it's like he just hosts chill out streams and talent shows.
Mm.
I don't get why anybody would want to hurt him.
Don't know. I mean, personally, I think it's just a waste of time to threat people. Might as well do something more productive with your life rather than hating.
Yeah. Well, that's why anti-CG is puzzling in general. Like, why they've declared this war against us for making comics.
Right, or just hanging out, having a good time or something,
It's like, because we dared to dislike a lot of the books that they like, apparently that's a sin that cannot be forgiven.
Well, they gotta learn, people come in many different takes. I mean, some people like some stuff, some people hate some stuff, but it's important to just get along with your fellow man, agree to disagree, basically.
Yeah, I don't, like, I get that there were some CGers who I think they kind of hammer on it a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they kind of obsess over the shit that modern Marvel does, like, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't agree with that mindset either, just because it's like, the companies made their stance clear that they're not going to listen to us. So it's like,
right.
Just don't give them the time of day anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's my answer. It's like, they don't want us as customers. Don't be their customers.
Right.
See how well they do. So they're not doing well at all, as much as they keep pretending like they are.
Yeah, they're gone down the gutters. Maybe he can't play the guitar.
Oh, okay. So because Anthony can't play the guitar, he deserves.
Oh, my dog.
The dog got pissed off.
Yeah, he heard someone out in the hallway. So.
Oh, I thought he was angry about what's going on with Dark Gift.
I mean, he could be, but I think it's just more along the lines he heard something outside the door, so...
The world needs Goku again.
Well... Goku's alright. I'd rather it be something more new, just because Goku's already, to me, kind of played his role.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the story could have wrapped up a while ago.
Super's good and everything, but I'd rather it be something new or just something else entirely.
Yeah, like most of the new fantasy stories I've seen come out, like, just don't really interest me or don't impress me. They just, like I know there's people who are all, oh, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and I didn't like that idea from the get-go. I don't like modernizing Greek gods. I think that's kind of dumb.
Yeah. Although my sister would probably love it. Well, I think she might have read that. Maybe, I don't know.
I love Greek mythology to death. I just don't want to see Zeus wearing, like, an Armani suit.
Right.
And we don't need, like, a Harry Potter, but for Greek mythology type of thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Took me a minute there. I don't get how he has enemies. Like, I don't get that at all.
I can kind of understand it, but, I mean, like I said, it's stupid to just hate on him.
It's like there's some CGers who I understand how they have enemies, even though their enemies are irrational. I get where, like, how it happens. I don't get how Anthony attracts, like, anger and hate. I don't get that. Because he's always seemed very relaxed and chill to me. Like, he's never been insulting about anything, really. But what do I know?
Let's see, it looks like... Just checking in on him. Looks like everything's going okay. At least so far.
I mean, there's people who threaten musicians all the time for reasons that I don't quite understand.
I can think of one: jealousy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, you know. Everybody's always competing over the Iron Throne.
That's what I don't understand. Just either be happy or, you know, just move on from the person rather than just spending all that time hating them.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I like to talk shit about Star Wars, you know, modern Star Wars, but I don't watch any of the new stuff at all. Like, and that's something I've been perplexed by on Twitter, especially a lot recently, is like a lot of folks that I know who were like are like really pissed off and annoyed with what modern Star Wars has become are watching every new show. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's like they want to get pissed. Because it's like, you know who's in charge of this. You know what they've done. You know what they've said they're going to do. And they've done it over and over. Why on God's green earth do you think, well, maybe this time things will be different? You know, like I've seen a bunch of folks who like watch the Kenobi shit like recently, and it's like, why are you subjecting yourself to that? Because you know what they're gonna do. You know that they're gonna break canon somehow. They're gonna try to do some really cheap fan servicey things that are not really fan service. It's what they think fans want.
Right.
Like, you know that at some point in this stupid series, Obi-Wan is probably going to fight Darth Vader.
I mean, that's what they're kind of egging on.
Yeah. And, you know, it's going to totally be a canon and lore breaker.
Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't meet Darth Vader until his older years.
Yeah. And, you know, they're going to play with this thing of like, oh, I'm sure Obi-Wan's going to leave Tatooine at some point and go on a mini adventure. It's like, no. He's supposed to be, you know, the wise old guy looking after Luke. Even though Luke's going to grow up to be a quitter, you know.
It's where my dog just wants to hop onto my lap and just wants to go to town with me petting him.
I thought you made that noise because you're like, oh god, this is getting depressing.
Oh no. My dog just kept on looking at me like going, please, Dad, let me hop onto your lap. And it's like, no, I don't want you right now.
I just feel like a lot of the people doing the whole culture criticism stuff, like the people who watch the shows actively, I feel like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because I feel like they're kind of the reason that they keep producing this stuff. Because it's like the people in charge of the companies have made it clear that they don't care if they get bad feedback or good feedback. They just want the clicks.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you like it or not. They just want, like, the more clicks they get, the more money they get, the more attention they get. So it's like, you know, they're going to keep bastardizing shit as long as they get the clicks.
And it's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying anime, at least for now, because they don't care about the clicks right now. They just care about telling the story.
Yeah, Japan doesn't have, as far as I know, they don't have, like, these stupid incentives to do, like, social activism.
They do have it, it's just hasn't gotten to the top yet. Unfortunately, they still have, you know, social justice warriors everywhere. But it hasn't quite reached the top yet, so at least for now it's enjoyable.
No, like, exactly. Like, that's why, like, yeah. I think the reason I bring up Star Wars so much is because I felt like The Last Jedi was, like, the first major production that I can think of where it was kind of this turning point for, like, American entertainment in general. It was like, that was the time where they were like, okay, let's see what we can do by pushing the envelope in terms of, like, kind of like working people's nerves. It's like, I wonder how well, like let's see how well we can do if we, quote, piss off the right people. like that, and I felt like that all kind of started with The Last Jedi, because that was the one where they were like, well, I mean, you've heard it a million times, it's the subverting expectations thing. That's code for, deliberately undercutting your own story just to get on people's nerves,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like modern Marvel has gotten into this weird habit that I don't like at all, where it's like they're self-parodying. It's like, as they're doing a superhero movie, they want to make fun of superhero movies while they're doing a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the creators of the movie are like, "Ugh, we're so tired of superhero shit, but I gotta do this because the studio wants me to do this. So I'm just gonna make fun of the fact that I'm doing this."
I mean, hell, it's like the next Thor movie trailer that I've been hearing about.
Yeah. God, that works my nerves, because Thor was like pretty much, Thor and Captain America were my two favorite Avengers in the movies, at least. And they didn't really destroy Captain America. I'm glad they kind of retired him, because it's like, at least they won't bastardize him.
Right.
But like, yeah, with Thor, they're doing that shit of like, well, he's not really gonna be the badass hero god of thunder,
right?
Because he has to find himself.
We gotta dumb him down to make him relatable to the audience,
I mean, even worse than that, it's like they're having him repeat character arcs that he's done before.
That's what I hate too, when they repeat an arc, at least on a few of the Marvel movies that I saw.
Yeah.
He's already learned this lesson. Oh, we're gonna go through it again, just so that it's like...
No, exactly. Like, it's like Thor at the end of, I think it was Endgame. Thor at the end of Endgame, when he turns down the throne for the second time in the movie series, he does the whole thing, oh, I gotta figure out who I really am, or whatever. Wasn't that the plot of Thor 1, and then Thor 2, and then Thor 3, and then, like...
Well, Ragnarok wasn't really much of a Thor movie, it was more of a buddy movie, if anything.
Yeah. I liked Ragnarok at the time, like, for what it was. Like, I thought it was kind of a nice break in the pattern.
Right.
But I didn't want every movie to become that.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what they're trying to do. Like, that's the worst habit Disney has.
Yeah, that or like Spider-Man No Way Home. I still haven't seen that yet, but I've heard that it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you got all the different Spider-Mans in there. You got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. And I think Daredevil had a small cameo in it.
Oh.
Like the one from the actual Netflix series.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of glad that they praised him, at least hopefully, for the movies and everything, but I'm worried that, the specials for him later on are gonna dumb him down or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're trying to do this thing where they're going to replace all the Avengers with new, more diverse counterparts. And it's going to blow up in their faces because, Disney's worst habit is the fact that they run these movies like a total corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, this one thing that worked in this one movie, well, we got to have a lot more of that. And it's like what we were talking about with Ragnarok. It's like, wow, Thor Ragnarok was a hit. And it was because it was an action comedy. So now all the Marvel movies have to be action comedies from now on. And we, fuck the character arcs, fuck the stakes. We don't need stakes anymore. These are superhero movies. They're stupid.
My, funny thing is when they're doing, releasing the movie, and then one of the actors, now this happened in Jurassic World Domination, where she says, my character's lesbian, and da-da-da-da, and it's like, what do I care for if the character's lesbian or not? I just want to hear about the movie, how good it is, how, it got made, stuff like that. I don't particularly care about characters as much, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean,
especially when you're trying to hype up for the movie,
Yeah, because like honestly, with Jurassic World, like the characters to me were the weakest part. I didn't really give that much of a shit about what's his face, Owen, Chris Pratt's character. I saw what they were trying to do with him, and it was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like doing the whole like he's an animal trainer, but for dinosaurs, like that's cool. But then like he was kind of a one note kind of character to me. Same with what's her name, Bryce Dallas Howard. Her character is like, okay, I get it. It's very one-dimensional, but whatever, it's fine, I guess. It was like the dinosaurs and the park were the big part of that movie.
I liked both the movies, except for them kind of kept on using, like, at least for the first two, or the second movie, when they tried to use the DNA of the Indominus Rex to make a raptor form of it, and it's like, no, I understand it for the, first one, but like the second one, it's like first they're trying to get the dinosaurs off the island and everything, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna sell dinosaurs in an auction house. It's like, what the hell?
And like that shit about how like, oh, it's weaponized for the military because it'll attack whatever we point this laser pointer at.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Especially like when he's using like the little clicker or whatever. It's like, okay, I mean, I understand that you used it for them when they were babies and everything, but it's like you don't want to see that on a full-grown dinosaur going click 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 click.
Yeah. I feel like Jurassic World, they should have just stuck with the first movie and just kind of called it a day.
Well, that's what they're kind of doing on Dominion. I know I called it Dominus, but it's Dominion. I keep on messing that up, but anyway. They're trying to go to like, instead of using frog DNA for the dinosaurs, they're going to the true blue DNA of the dinosaurs. So you see raptors with feathers and everything.
See, I think that's kind of cool.
So you get to see, the old raptors facing off against, the older raptors, and it's like, okay, this could be interesting,
I think that's cool. I think, I think that the fact that they brought back the original 3, I feel like they're about 20 years too late for that. But
yeah, I mean, they should have done that with the first Jurassic World rather than wait until this last movie to bring everyone together,
I feel like they should have done it in like the second Jurassic Park movie. Like,
but
I would have preferred like the original cast to be together, like while the original shit was still happening. I didn't like. I mean, I don't think anybody really liked Jurassic Park 3.
I thought it was okay. I did, but no one really liked, the Spinosaurus killing the T-Rex, though.
Yeah.
Me being one of them, it's like, no.
Yeah, you're killing off the most iconic dinosaur with a dinosaur that most people don't really know that much about.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, what the Spinosaurus was bigger than T-Rex.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've found carnivores that are even bigger than that, I think.
Yeah, I believe one of those carnivores is on there. Like
yeah, I think it's either Gigantosaurus.
I think. Let me double check on that just to be sure.
I know there's one. You know, they incorporated like there's like Ultrasaurus, which I think is a sauropod. But I don't know if that's in the movies. Fucking hay. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm at the point where I'm burnt out on reunions and soft reboots.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and do something new.
Yeah. Yep, you're
Actually,
right. Gigantosaurus.
Yeah. It sounds like a made-up name. But...
It does. It's like, oh, there's a bigger dinosaur.
It's the Bigosaurus. But yeah, I recently watched the movie Free Guy. And I was pleasantly surprised by it because I wasn't expecting it to be super good, and I actually thought it was really well done. It was a comedy with like kind of like its own little sci-fi premise that made sense. It worked for what it was. It had some cool little, I guess, allegories going on in it. And it had a lot of heart, and it was good. Like, and that was very recent. That was like 2 years ago. So they've proven that there are people who can do it. They just need to make it more mainstream.
Another good movie, at least to me, was Ghostbusters Afterlife. If you ever checked that out.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Because as long as it didn't bastardize the original material. You know.
Yeah, no, it was more of a passing of the torch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. Especially, they have a little scene for the actor that died.
Yeah.
So, that's what I really liked about it too, because it played homage to him as well.
I can dig that.
Unfortunately, it's like, the CG version of him, but,
I mean, yeah, they're gonna be doing that shit. But I'm burnt out on soft rebooting. It's like, let's let the 80s franchises and 90s franchises rest a little bit. Like, and I think Red Letter Media, I like their content a lot, and I was watching one video, and I remember the guy Mike on there, he basically said something that I'm like, why don't they do this? Where it's like, if you just have to do remakes, if that's just what you feel like you have to do, remake movies that sucked. Remake movies that nobody liked and try to make them good.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the way to go about that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I think that would be the best way to do that. It's like, I don't see the point in continuing on with this soft rebooting, because it's like the audience by now, even people who love that stuff, it's like they gotta be tired of it by now.
Right.
Because it's an obvious pattern.
And then another thing too, this is what I heard about this on the video or something. Nowadays, people just care about the comic books, not like the movie stars, which usually, you know, back in the day helped sell Hollywood, where for the movie was the movie star, compared to nowadays it either, oh, this Spider-Man movie, or oh, this Star Wars movie, you know.
Yeah.
It's less about the stars now and more, you know,
the original content.
Mm.
That makes sense. Because yeah, movie stars have they've kind of fallen into the background because people see that in reality they're not larger than life now. And if anything, they're a lot dumber than the average person.
I mean, hell, look at the recent Top Gun movie that's doing great in the box office, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's also, I think it's doing great also because for once, like, they're not actually trying to revamp the original movie, or they're not trying to make social commentary about this original movie. They're actually making a sequel to the original, and the characters are actually consistent with who they were.
Right.
What a concept.
I know. I mean, it's almost like politics, or at least modern day politics, should not be in movies.
Or at the very least, like, I agree with that statement totally, but like, to be compromising.
Yeah,
if you have to put that shit in, at least make it subtle.
Right.
Don't just trot it out there like to where it's like the entire reason the movie exists.
Right.
I mean, that was the biggest issue I think a lot of people had with all female reboots, was the fact that they all felt like felt like they had to make a statement. That, and a lot of them just weren't very smart or very well thought out at all. It was just that they were literally just, oh my god, like, this would be so much better if it was all women. And that's as far as they thought through. You know, like Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah.
Like, that was the entire reason that movie existed, was, hey, if we put 3 women on the screen, imagine how great it would be. And that's as far as they thought.
Not to mention, like, trying to make the women better than the, you know, original Ghostbuster characters, you know?
Yes, and doing it in a way that is so ham-fisted that it completely does the opposite of what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Like, that's how I felt. Yeah. Again, I'm gonna say it again, Star Wars. That was what they did with Rey. Because I actually was okay. I think I mentioned this to you before, that, like, in Force Awakens, I was okay with Rey. I thought I thought they were gonna, like, do something a lot better with her in the second one. Like, I thought, like, if we could get, like, a master protege relationship between her and Luke, that might be something really fun.
Another
really
thing too is, like, putting Finn on the back burner too. When you see, like, in the first movie, you know, him being sensitive to the Force, it's like, oh, he could be another Jedi or something too. And then, you know, he gets completely canned in the second movie until, like, the ending of it. And
it didn't make sense to make him the comedic relief, considering, like, where his character came from.
I mean, even you know, from his point, from being in the Empire to joining the Rebellion, that was another interesting, like, little point there too, because you don't see many Imperial soldiers flipping and joining the other side.
And like, I think everybody's brought up the fact that it was a unique take, because it was like, for the first time, we're not seeing the stormtroopers as these faceless army of just guys that get mowed down by the good guys. It's like, okay, now we're actually seeing them as people. We're seeing them as individuals.
Right.
And it's like they have their own sense of right and wrong. Like, and I think they kind of played around with a little bit of that in Rogue One, where it was like, it's not that people love the Emperor or anything, it's that the Empire provides people with a certain level of security.
Right.
And it's like they point out, it's like, as much as people don't like to think about the positive aspects of the Empire, it's like they point out that there is actually some form of a positive aspect to the Empire that gets people to rally to the cause. It's like it's not just like the Empire are all just monsters. It's like, really, it's only the guy at the top that is the monster. Everybody else is just kind of doing what they're doing for the sake of a better future. They just have different visions on what that future is.
Some people in the Empire, anyway, for that.
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily like General Tarkin, but...
Or, like some of the Siths in the animated series, too. It's some of the Sith characters.
I only watched a little bit of, like, the Clone Wars stuff. I didn't like it as much as a lot of folks I've seen and talked to do. Just because, like, it felt very inconsistent with the movies at times.
Right.
Like they were trying to make Yoda out to be this badass. And I don't like Yoda as the badass. I like the way he was in the original movies.
Yeah, being the wise character and everything.
He was wise, but he was slightly goofy, but he was doing that to prove a point. And all that, like, and I like how he's like slow to violence, he thinks things through. I like that Yoda. And it's like the Yoda in the Clone Wars, it's like they're trying to make him just, Mr. Badass with the sword, Even like the voice they chose for him, it was just like, it didn't fit. And Anakin in the Clone Wars series, I would say he was a completely different character from who he was in the movies. Because like he was actually way more honorable in the cartoon than he was in the movies.
Well, oh yeah, he was actually, I think he was still pretty honorable in the movies until, the certain scene where his honor gets questioned.
I felt like in the Clone War, in Attack of the Clones, he came off as a creepy stalker to me. And, he's very hostile to Obi-Wan. And yeah, like in the love story was just completely forced. Everything about it was forced. And again, it was very forced to me, number one, because it was like the two, I felt like Anakin and Padme were both planks of wood. Both performance-wise and writing-wise. They were very, there was like nothing going on in either of those characters. And you're trying to make them into this passionate romance, and it felt very tacked on. It was like George Lucas was saying, well, we have to get them together for the story to make sense.
Right.
So we'll just get them together for the story to make sense. And that's it. Like, we're not going to try to make it flow or make it seem natural or whatever. It's like, what? No, they have to be together. They have to be. Then the twins won't be born.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the movies, at least.
Well, I mean, Attack of the Clones was a freaking abomination, in my opinion. But
I think it was okay. I prefer, the last of the prequels.
Oh yeah, everybody does. Revenge of the Sith.
Mm. And
that
that
was
was
that's when
just
all the
like
good shit happens.
But
that's when we get to see Anakin finally cross over the line in an irreversible way. That's when we finally get to see Darth Sidious show his hand. Even though we all knew who he was.
Yeah, we knew who he was ever since the first movie.
It's kind of hard to mix that up. Darth Maul was like really to me was the saving grace of the first movie, because most of it was kind of boring. But Darth Maul and the fight with like Qui-Gon Jinn and all that, like that was like the saving part of it all. What goofy sounds?
You're like either your phone making the notification sounds or.
Oh yeah, but well, I'm actually doing this from my computer, but my phone was vibrating a second ago. So I don't know if that was it.
It probably was, because I was hearing the vibration sound too.
Yeah, that was my phone.
Yeah, usually when I hop on stream, I put on like turn on the do not disturb mode, although my only problem is too with that I end up forgetting I left the do not disturb mode on, so when I get some phone calls from friends and stuff like that, it's like, oh, they were calling me. Shit, it's late at night.
Yeah, I think for me it's that I don't really put it on silent because I assume that I'm not really that popular. So, but it's always when that happens that I get the buzzing.
I know that feeling. I mean, that's why I usually turn it off when I'm game streaming, so that way it doesn't go off.
But we need to work on that woke live action reboot of
Dragon Ball.
Yes. That's gonna be the newest hit. We're gonna piss off so many of the fans, and when we do, we're just gonna be totally obstinate and indignant, and we're gonna bait them like crazy. Well, Akira Toriyama never said that Bulma wasn't the main character. Okay. And like you man babies, if you want to watch Goku, just watch the old ones. Okay? This is our Dragon Ball. This is different. In fact, Akira Toriyama said that like we're embodying his
vision.
His vision more than he knew. Krillin shows up for one scene in the whole thing. And he shows up to talk about how great Bulma is. And Bulma trains under Master Roshi, and Master Roshi is a lesbian woman. That's right.
Well, yeah, I guess, but we still need her to act like a dirty old man, though.
Yes, but see, it'll be a woman sexually harassing women.
Right,
so
exactly.
That'll make it acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we gotta do.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
and she only sexually harasses women of color.
I was gonna say all women, so that way.
And Bulma's gonna be played by a black woman.
That's where I disagree with you there. It's got to be an Asian woman.
Well, no. See, we have to do this the woke way, not like logical. Because it's like with wokeness.
Okay, how about this then? Like a black Asian then.
Okay, a Blasian.
Yes.
All right, that'll work.
Yeah.
Because like the thing about it is like woke people don't necessarily like, they don't care so much about the logic of the races in the story. So like if you're thinking from a logical point of view, yeah, you would cast Asians to be in Dragon Ball because this is a very Asian story.
Right.
But no, see, we have to make it multi-ethnic. It has to look like modern America. and they have to all have this, all the characters have to be completely not like they were written.
Mm-hmm.
They have to all be angsty and like pissy to everybody around them because they're angry because the world's not fair.
Wait a minute, who should we get to play as King Kai though? How about a big woman?
I was gonna say Idris Elba, but
no. We gotta
Melissa McCarthy.
We gotta make all the important people women, so get paid for the role.
I think Melissa McCarthy would be a great choice.
Yes, Melissa McCarthy, perfect.
And she would just play.
And she can't be the skinny version either. She's gotta.
Yes, she's gotta be big, and she's gotta do all the stupid, goofy physical comedy that she always does that nobody likes.
Yep.
That's because she can't be like the real King Kai. Like she has to be her own King Kai, and she'll still be called King Kai as a woman. Because remember, now Thor: Love and Thunder has set the precedent that women can be kings.
Yep.
Because apparently Queen is a lesser title somehow.
I'm surprised you're still on.
Tessa Thompson definitely needs to play a character.
Tessa Thompson. Who was that?
Oh, she plays Valkyrie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Tessa Thompson could be Bulma.
I'd be actually fine with that. Either that or...
She can be so obnoxious about it. Like...
Or she can play as Yautja.
Wait. The Star Wars girl? What are you talking about?
Hold on.
Who's supposed to be a rapper?
I think the Valkyrie character you were talking about.
Oh, God.
She's a rapper?
Oh, that sounds awful. So it has to be true.
I'm gonna have to, when we're off, I'm gonna have to check on that, but...
That sounds horrible. And Goku, yeah. Oof, who would Goku would be a boy. He'd be a little boy. Probably he would be a little Asian boy, like, you know, you would expect. But he's gonna be gay.
Actually, I think he should have been black.
Well, see, like, we have to, like, have at least one or two, like, you know, it's like they can't all be the same race.
How about Mexican? Better yet.
Okay. That works. A little Mexican boy, and he's gay.
Yep.
And Chi-Chi is a boy. And they end up together. And they somehow have a kid.
No. How about this instead? Chi-Chi is a man who's becoming a woman.
Oh, that is perfect.
Because
then we do the whole surgery thing, and that's how Gohan is conceived.
Yep.
Gohan is also going to be trans. He's going to be going through the hormonal replacement.
And mind you, he won't be related to them at all. He'll be like this little kid they found on a street corner.
Well, no, I figured they would actually, that, like, because he's turning into a woman. Or better yet,
they adopt. How about that?
But I figured since Chi-Chi's transitioning into a woman, she would have a uterus implanted. And so she'd be able to conceive, But then when they give birth, Gohan is a totally different race than both of them.
Okay, yeah, that works.
And we're not going to explain that at all.
Okay, perfect. Why it says not Valkyrie, so I take it back. It wasn't her that he was saying.
Is it not like, are you saying that it wasn't Valkyrie who was the rapper, or are you saying that the Tessa Thompson is not actually Valkyrie? Because I would accept either of those answers.
We'll find out in a little bit.
Because if she's King Valkyrie, then she's not really a Valkyrie, is she? Like,
yeah. I mean, even Valkyrie, they gotta change that as well, because that's a woman.
Plus, I was under the impression, like, I thought I heard, like, her name in the comics, the character Valkyrie's, like, Valkyrie is her title, and her name is Brunhilde. Which would make more sense.
Yeah.
Considering, yeah, like, she was one of the Valkyries, and, like, oh, you're Valkyrie. Which Valkyrie? Like, there's 100 of you.
Why it says correct former?
Okay. Well, then who's the rapper?
Yeah.
Is it Bulma?
Alright. Or was it the big black lady that's the rapper?
Are you talking? What big black lady? Are you talking about
the person who we had playing as Bulma?
Oh, I figured that would be Tessa Thompson.
I wish, but I think he was. I don't know. I lost my train of thought on.
I know we had we said we were gonna have like a black woman play Master Roshi.
Oh, we did? Okay, so that's. Who's that? Who's that one singer that, you know, completely obese, but...
Are you talking... Oh, Lizzo?
I think so. The one where she was, like, flying off the handle when one of the singers, like, was saying you need to be on a healthier, you know, weight rather than what you're at right now.
Oh, I don't know about that incident. I just know...
Well, it wasn't her. It was the woman going off about being healthy and saying, you know, being healthier is a lot better for you and everything. And then I believe she flew off the handle and attacked her. Or it was some stupid thing like that. It's just...
I know Lizzo was the one who, like, she's overweight and, like, she's trying to do the whole big is beautiful thing where, like, she showed her butt while she was going on a plane. And, like, she's been, like, producing all these new sexy swimwear for big ladies and all this stuff. I mean, Lizzo's definitely going to be in the Dragon Ball remake.
Yeah.
I think Master Roshi should be played by the black lady from Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. The one who was on Saturday Night Live.
Yes. She needs to play Master Roshi.
Yep.
And when I say Master Roshi, I mean she just plays herself. And they just call her Master Roshi.
Then who do we have Lizzo playing as, though?
I would say Lizzo is either going to be Yamcha or Majin Buu.
Majin Buu, just because I just want to see her, like, speak in a high-pitched voice and... Go, man, like your candy!
Yes. The candy part is essential.
Or turn you into candy, something along the lines of that.
We would have to alter Majin Buu's backstory. Like, you find out that the reason that Majin Buu is the way Majin Buu is because some misogynistic men at the beginning of time were treating her like property, and at some point she was raped, and that just set her on the path of evil.
Yeah.
Because we can't have a female bad guy that isn't sympathetic.
Yeah.
Frieza will be a man, obviously.
Gay man, though.
Well, no, I wouldn't even go. No, see, Frieza's gonna be a heterosexual white man because he's evil.
Can we make him rich then?
Yes.
Okay.
And we might even make him look eerily similar to Donald Trump. So we can make a statement.
We gotta make sure we definitely add the comb-over form, though, of course, because, you know, that's his signature look then. Yes.
And the comb-over gets more pronounced with each transformation.
Yes, yes, yes. I like that, I like that. And then when it's, like, his final form, the hair, at least on the comb-over, begins standing up, so... Like in that one helicopter video where it's like completely over the top.
And then like with the iconic fight between Goku and Frieza, Goku gets his ass kicked within like basically like while he's still in the normal form. Goku gets his ass kicked. He doesn't even go Super Saiyan. Like at all. Like that storyline is scrapped. Like he gets his ass kicked. Bulma steps in and defeats Frieza.
Alright.
Using like really, really cheap and cheesy martial arts abilities that nobody taught her, that was never in Dragon Ball at all. Just kind of like, almost like stuff you'd learn from a woman's self-defense class. Just go for the balls.
Yeah, down for that.
I mean, I have so many ideas on how to make this horrible. Just, I mean, like we've got all the blueprints are there. Like,
yep.
The movies from the past 10 years have given us the roadmap to a smash hit here, and we can just totally Rian Johnson the fuck out of this.
Wait. Who plays Cell, though? Because after we wrap up Goku's arc, we gotta somehow get Bulma to beat Cell.
Yeah, Cell's gonna be a tough one. Because, I mean, we can't... I mean, I would say we can't go straight white male again, but then again, this is a woke movie. So we have to go for the dumbest answer possible. So it's like, yes, we'll do it twice. We'll have another heterosexual white man who is rich.
Yeah, but we gotta make him, like, sexy, though, unfortunately, on this one. Like, with each transformation, he loses a piece of his shirt.
Okay.
Because we gotta get the women in.
We get Chris Hemsworth.
There we go.
As Cell.
There we go.
I can see him with the white face paint.
And also, instead of him being, like, you know, the smartest fighter, one of the smartest fighters there is, we'll make him completely dumb. Like,
yes.
Just with each transformation, he gets dumber and dumber and dumber.
And more misogynistic.
Okay, yeah.
He has to, like, make unwanted advances to Bulma.
Yeah.
And she has to, like, get...
And Chi-Chi, we gotta make sure, you know, there's equal representation in that, so we gotta make sure, you know, Chi-Chi's getting hit on, too.
Chi-Chi may have been born biologically male, but she's a woman, too.
Right.
Fuck yes.
Yes. Okay, and then we got Lizzo playing Majin Buu.
All forms of Majin Buu, not just Fat Buu.
Wait, how are we gonna get her to Skinny Buu, though, or at least...
Oh no, she's not gonna get skinny.
Okay.
So she's going to transform, but it's going to be such a mild transformation because we want body positivity.
Mm-hmm. So wait, when she's in like Kid Buu form, then should we just make her like a small, like her like a small boulder, like with little hands and everything, and little feet, and just like completely big?
Yes.
Okay.
And we have to try to sell it like it's a sex symbol.
Okay. So we also make it to where it's like a new gender. So basically, she's a boulder.
Oh wait, I got it.
What?
Lizzo is Majin Buu and Super Buu, but then when she becomes Kid Buu, she's played by what's her face? She's played by Rose Tico.
Okay.
Because then it's like, okay, she's the little munchkin.
Right.
And we do what they do with like what Ryan Johnson did, where it's like we try to make you think this is a beautiful, wonderful character.
Mm-hmm.
And
we gotta make sure, like, you already said that. Or never mind, because I was gonna say.
It's like because Frieza and Cell are both white males, we want them to be irredeemably evil. But then with Majin Buu, because Majin Buu is not a white male, we want the audience to be very sympathetic to Majin Buu, to the point where you don't want Bulma to defeat Majin Buu. And she does defeat Majin Buu, but she does it in that way where it's like she gives Majin Buu a chance to like redeem herself.
Wait. Should we make her and Bulma and Majin Buu lovers though?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Alright. Perfect.
Has to be done.
Yep. Has to be.
And Goku's only in, if this is going to be like a 3-movie trilogy, Goku's only in about maybe 15% of it.
Oh, I figured we would go less than that. I figured maybe like 5% or 10.
Okay. He'll show up here and there to remind the audience that this is Dragon Ball.
Right, exactly. We gotta put our own spin on it, you know. Make it less about iconic characters and more about the new characters.
Especially since, like, once we get to the third one, like, the audience will be so angry that the studio is gonna try to do little fan servicey things to appease the audience. Like, just little things, not big things. Like,
right.
Like you know, we'll have Goku pose in a way that he was posed in during one of the iconic moments in the show.
Oh, actually, and instead, why don't we make his pose like Yamcha's pose when he's blown up by the Cybermen?
Oh, lordy.
Yeah.
That would be his pose after he's defeated by Frieza.
Yes. Perfect.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yamcha's not even going to be in the movies.
Yeah, no.
We're going to pretend like that character never existed.
Right,
same with
he's
Tien.
a misogynistic male, so he...
Same with Tien, because people like Tien, so Tien's not going to be in it. Chaozu's not going to be in it.
Krillin's not going to be in it.
Krillin's going to be in one scene.
Oh, okay.
In the whole thing. He's just in one scene, and he's there to talk about how great Bulma is.
Okay.
And then Piccolo will be in it because Piccolo is canonically asexual. So we need somebody representing they thems. So that's going to be Piccolo's job.
Yep.
Piccolo will be played by Idris Elba.
I don't know on that one. What?
You're right.
I think we should have him play by who's the one that goes by who? I know there was one star that went by those pronouns, but I can't remember who they were.
Oh fuck. I know Demi Lovato does. I know.
No.
Oh, that Ezra Miller guy does.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
The dude who assaulted people in Hawaii?
Yes. Yes, that's perfect.
we'll bring him out of his forced retirement.
Because he's almost not canceled, but is getting propped up, so perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We got a movie series in development.
There we go.
It's getting to be about that time for me to call the stream, but I would love to talk more about this idea with you.
Okay.
And to everybody who's been listening, and to everybody who listens in after the show, go ahead and let us know in the comments what you think should be in the woke reboot of Dragon Ball. Let us know if you have any suggestions on things that we should possibly do a little differently. I think we've pretty much nailed it, though, in terms of like the winning formula on how to lose money. Like, I think we can do this. But yeah, Fade, where can we find you at?
You guys can find me at Fade Salvation on YouTube. You can over on the Fade Salvation right there, as well as at Fade Salvation over on Twitter. I also have Facebook, Instagram, basically almost all the social medias, so.
Hell yeah. And I am, of course, Ben, aka The Fusebox, and you can find me right here every Saturday night at 7 Central. Go ahead, hit the like button. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the dislike button, because I'm not going to be able to see it. But follow me on Twitter at Knights Outlaw. And as you could probably tell from the scrolling text in the bottom here, go ahead and subscribe to the email list for Outlaw Nights issue number 2. The link is in the description of this video. I am not going to be launching this project until we have at least 100 people signed up on the email list. And you're going to want to be on the email list because you're going to get access to exclusive perks that are only available to the email list. So get on it while the getting is good. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for yet another Fusebox Engaged. And we will talk to you all later.
See ya.